Hi, this is Mike Ignatoski, the creator of the GreenFox Spreadsheet, the spreadsheet that uses Excel programming to make it behave like a computerized baseball scorebook or score sheet. It also automatically computes the game stats, which can be a big time saver. And even better, GreenFox can be configured to operate in one of three different league modes where it can track the cumulative stats for all players and teams in the league. In this short video, I want to just cover one feature, which is the game event log. So the game event log was a feature introduced way back in version 3.6. So I would assume anybody watching this video has probably already has this feature, but they may not know about it or why they want to use it. So let's talk about that. There are a few uses for the game event log. And the first one here is to review a score sheet from an already played game, and that's basically what it's about. And maybe you want to print out or save a scan of your score sheet that something special happened and you forgot to save a printout of it, or an image of it that you wanted to post online or show somebody else. Maybe you want to look for something specific to show, or whatever. I gave an example here of maybe a picture with 6 straight strikeouts that you remember happening, but you didn't know who it was, or something like that. Another option, a reason to consider using the game event log is to correct a score sheet mistake. Maybe you realized, a few games into your project that you weren't figuring out saves correctly, or wins or something like that. Or maybe you could remember, hey, this happened a couple of times and I need to go fix this because I was doing it wrong. And you already saved your games, but this is a way to possibly fix those mistakes. So that kind of talks about that statistical mistake. And another reason might be maybe your mistake was something like you were doing a replay and you accidentally played somebody who wasn't really available that game or wasn't on the team during that time or something like that. So you want to replay the game. And so this would let you do that. I mean, you could also replay a game now without using the game event log, but the game event log lets you look at the score sheet first to kind of confirm whether maybe that'll give you some more information to determine whether you want to replay the game or not. So I'm going to now kind of demonstrate an example of using the game event log. All right, in this example, I've got a historical team season league that I created for this 1971 Detroit Tigers Mickey Lolich project, where I was just playing the Mickey Lolich starts pretty much. And you can see here the Tigers were 20-20 in those starts. So. But in this example, I want to go back if I look at my schedule, and there was a game here that was game 82 that they played the Yankees. It was a 16 inning game, and I'm just going to pretend that I need to replay or look at this and see if I want to fix some mistake or whatever. But so I'm going to use the game event log to do it. And what I want to show first is on the schedule, this is where it saves that information. It's kind of like an archive. But if you scroll all the way to here, I'm going to kind of highlight this row first. 82. There. So if I scroll to the right, here's all the starting lineup stuff, historical, way over here, and then we go past the spat, starting pitcher table, and here's the game event log. And you can see here, if I scroll up, it's blank because I had started this project before I implemented this feature. But then I continued it on, and by this time, the feature was available. So this is, you can see the game event log data. There are 5 columns worth of data. If you click on it, you can look up here to see what it is. But you can see it's kind of cryptic, but it's everything from the score sheet. So this is kind of hard to interpret, but that's not really necessary. It's just here for storage until it's needed. So what I'm going to do is go to my score sheet and load the game event log. So on my score sheet, the first thing I'm going to need to do is make sure it's cleared. So I've reset my score sheet so there's nothing here. And right here, this in the middle lower part of the screen is the game event log button that maybe you've always wondered what it was or never paid attention to it. But I'm going to click on it now, and you'll see it kind of like clicking on the game ID thing. It jumps you over to the schedule sheet and says select the game ID of the game whose game event log you want to load into the GreenFox score sheet. So same deal, you want to pick the game ID. So here's that game 82 right here. So I'm going to click on this game ID, and it reads that game event log and populates this score sheet. Both teams, I don't want to say magically, but that's what you get with this information. So it doesn't give you the stats, although I could recompute the stats right now. It would do it just like I would at the end of my game. But this is what the game event log feature gives you. So I could click this do stats and it'll compute the stats like the end of the game. But I would still have to, as before, I would need to do any manual parts like assign who got the win or loss or something like that. So you can see here the Yankees won on the top of the 16th. But if I wanted to correct a mistake, if I wanted to maybe replay this inning, I could erase this inning. But if I wanted to do that, I would need to click on each of these one at a time and click on this and say yes, and I have to clear the result of each one. I'm not going to do that, but that's an example of if you want to just replay part of your game, that's what you have to do. I don't know how common that would be, but let's go along with the example of maybe that somebody played in this game that really wasn't even supposed to be in the game. So I'm going to replay the whole thing. So let's first talk about if I only want to replay it part of it. Let's say this Jerry Kenny, that came in the top of the 7th or whatever, pinch hit. He wasn't supposed to be able to play. So really, I only want to maybe start it from here on. But there isn't a convenient way to do that in GreenFox. So what you'd want to do is you could erase each of these one by one. That's up to you. Or maybe what you might want to do is print or save a picture of your score sheet like it is, and then reset the whole thing and just enter the results as from your printout or your image until you get to where you want to restart replaying and then play your game. So I'll take this opportunity to kind of show how to reset this to replay it. So I have the starting lineups here for both teams. Let me scroll this over a little bit. Hide these stats. And let's talk about kind of resetting this. So before I reset it, I'll just revisit that example I gave about maybe correcting the saves or something like that, where you could go over here. Now I want to show these pitcher stats. And if I wanted to, like here, if you look at this down here at the bottom of the 16th, Lindy McDaniel got the save, and maybe I didn't give it to him or something. But here you could reassign these because you had to assign these manually before, so you'd have to reassign them now just like before. So I could say, oh, yeah, he got the save. Maybe I didn't give it to him before. This Al Kloster guy got the win, and Tom Timmerman got the loss. So if I wanted to, I could save my stats now, and it would prompt me to overwrite. If I do that, I'm just going to say no. Do I want to overwrite? No. But you could do that. The other option is I'm going to show is replay the game. So if I go to the score sheet, actually I'm on the score sheet already, but if I go to the reset score sheet button, this is what I want to demonstrate here. So it has 4 different options, and the first one's always checked. But what we want to do to restart a game, I want to check just these first 2. Or this one's already checked, so really I'm just checking this box, the second one. So this will clear the game stats, and clear the score sheet and non-starters in the lineup. But it'll not do this. So it'll keep my starting lineups, and it'll keep the game info. So this info up here of which game it is for your league. So I'm going to just check this top box so that the top 2 are set, and I'm going to click this reset selected. You have to click this middle button. Otherwise, if you click reset all, it ignores these and just resets everything. So if I do reset selected, this will do just what I said, which is clear out the stats, clear off the score sheet, clear off all the subs. You can see up here all the guys that came in for both starters, and now my score sheet is just like it had been when I started the game originally. And now I could either replay it in its entirety or use my printed out score sheet to, copy the results for the first few innings and replay the part I want to. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show as an example of how to use the game event log. Thanks for watching this GreenFox video. I hope you found it helpful. And remember, when life throws you a curveball, don't bail out.